Philadelphia brought in JVR, so they have to re-sign him at the end of next season. Max Pacioretty's name is still out there, but Montreal is going to be looking for a defenseman, and I'm sure the guy at the top of their list is Brandon Montour. Maybe now with all the signings with Luke Schenn and Andrej Sustr, then maybe they can move a guy like Jakob Larsson, as much as I'd like to see him play, to a team that needs defense. So a lot of names out there, but the prices are varying. I mean, there was a trade apparently with Pacioretty that the Kings were almost completed, and then it just fell apart. So there's a lot of working parts. I'd love to see them bring in Wayne Simmonds. I think he would be perfect and be a huge asset to the power play for the Ducks, which has struggled over the last few seasons. He kind of replaces Corey Perry in the role that Perry used to have on the Ducks power play, where he'd go to the net and create havoc. Wayne Simmonds can still do that. But all of these guys are UFAs next year, so they're essentially rentals. I mean, Skinner's a UFA, Simmonds is a UFA, and Pacioretty, so it'd be interesting to see how they work that out.
Yeah, and Bob Murray's not big on the rental type, so it's a little tough to see him trading any assets that teams are going to want for these players, unless he changes his MO and really kind of just tries to go all in for this season. I mean, other than that, there might be a trade possibility with Panarin, the bread man, but I mean, once again, that's still kind of something that's just not really something the Ducks can kind of swing as far as financially. I mean, that guy's going to get paid. He did well in Chicago. It's like, oh, well, you're in Chicago. He goes to Columbus and just kills it there, too. So now he doesn't want to stay with Columbus. Now what are you going to do? I mean, the guy can play anywhere and play well. It'd be nice to get him. But I do like Simmonds. My only fear is that he's coming in, and if Eves is coming back, Eves did a really good job in front of the net on the power play, same as Kessler. So if there's some way Kessler can be in there, and also Eves, it kind of makes Simmonds a little bit less attractive as far as a power play opportunity or a power play punch.
And you're not getting any younger when you bring in Wayne Simmonds. You're bringing a guy who's 29, played a lot of hard miles on
what if you get Perry 2.0?
Right, you don't want to have that risk. I mean, Simmonds is a great player, and he's put up good numbers. I mean, he's put up JVR numbers, right?
Yeah.
And JVR got paid.
Well,
so
same
you're
for
looking at
Pacioretty
same
too,
age.
right? So, I mean, they're both, I believe, late 20s, Pacioretty and Simmonds, so you bring both of them in. You bring one of each of them in, and you could have the same worry that, they could do it for one season, but if you sign them for 5, 6, 7 years, that they're probably going to be in the same position Corey Perry is in now.
They're both 29, you're right. So the thing that's funny about the Columbus Blue Jackets with Artemi Panarin is I don't think he even said trade me. He just didn't want to sign an extension. So then they're like, well, if you're not going to sign it now, we don't want to wait till the end of next year. We're going to trade you now. We need to get rid of you. Like, the idea that you have to get rid of like a top-end talent like that because he doesn't want to worry about an extension right now is so asinine to me. Like, let him build his value and then offload him at the deadline if you're not competitive or if you can't retain him by then. But, like, why are they panicking? Like, it's like, you have a good young team in Columbus. I mean, Seth Jones is a beast. Bobrovsky, Werenski's on that team. And you want to keep Panarin, but I just don't understand GMs. They just get all crazy. Like, I need to do something now.
Well, I mean, he's a UFA, though, I think, at the end of next season. So I kind of get it because, like, you don't want to lose a guy like that for nothing. And, of course, trading him now rather than at the deadline, you're going to get way more for a full season of Artemi Panarin than you are for half a season. I mean, of course, they want to keep him if they think they're going to be able to make a run, and I'm sure they do build off what they did last year. But it's a tough situation to be in as a GM when you're like, this guy probably doesn't want to come back. If he doesn't want to sign an extension now, that's usually when it gets done. I mean, look at Drew Doughty. You lock these guys down in advance to make sure they come back. So I would, I would think they'd want to get it done.
Russians don't like playing in the middle of the country. They only like playing on the coast. They want to go to a big city.
Same thing with Panarin is just that. Columbus maybe should hold on to him rather than try and get rid of him now, in my opinion, because a lot of times you can get inflated value when a team is that desperate to compete, especially like if you look at the West Coast and the Kings, loading up with Kovalchuk, and the Sharks kind of missed out. I mean, you could probably find a suitor that will give you a whole lot if they really feel that guy's going to really kind of push them that last little bit. So sometimes, in my opinion, I think on this particular one, see if it can help your team get into the playoffs. You're in a position to make the playoffs. Maybe you don't, but if it looks like there's a question there or it's not really going to happen, then maybe you pull the trigger and really kind of almost start that a little bit of a rebuild, in my opinion.
And for the Ducks, it's going to cost them. to bring in any one of these guys.
Which is why they should have signed some people.
It's going to cost them a lot of money. They're going to have to move. I mean, they would have to move like Nick Ritchie. They would have to move Jakob Silfverberg most likely. And how do you guys feel about Adam Henrique?
Love him.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that's the least likely one, right?
Sold on him, actually.
Why
Not 100% sold. Not 100% sold. I want to see what happens.
Did you see what he did to Vatanen in that one game?
Yeah, that was a great thing.
All right,
yeah.
he's a Duck forever.
He's a Duck forever now. He has to be.
Well, I mean, isn't it funny that we've heard of like extensions are like they're in talk with extension for Henrique, but we've heard nothing on Jakob Silfverberg.
Yep, exactly. That's kind of the thing that I was getting at. Is like, so they put the wrong guy up. Like Murray's publicly said that they're already talking extension with Henrique, and like you said, nothing for Silfverberg, but they both have 1 year left in their deal.
I think Silfverberg's a little bit less consistent. Like, I mean, he's got the talent; it's there. You're hoping to see it every game, and he shows spurts of it, and then he'll go on a drought for 10, 15 games. You're like, oh my God, where's this guy gone? And it's like Henrique can play up and down the lineup, and he's fairly consistent in what he's going to put up. So I can see their frustration a little bit in Silfverberg not quite being the consistent player they're looking for, short of shootouts.
Yeah, I think you know what you're going to get out of Adam Henrique. So it's like, well, let's get the guy locked down we know we can get. And then I feel like the Silfverberg situation is kind of similar to what they did with Kyle Palmieri, where they knew they weren't going to be able to re-sign him to a long-term deal. He was going to demand too much money, and they just traded him. I don't know if the same thing is going to happen to Silfverberg, but I really don't think they can give both Henrique and Silfverberg a raise. I mean, I would assume Henrique's going to get a little bit more than 4, which he's making now, and I would assume Silfverberg also gets more than the 3.75 that he's getting. And with, again, Montour, Ritchie, and Cash's contracts coming in this season, I just don't see how it gets done. I feel like you have to kind of move one of them eventually, and with Silfverberg and Henrique both being restricted or unrestricted free agents at the end of next season, whether it's in the offseason now to get one of these players or if it's at the deadline if you're not doing well, I think you can't sign both.
They're both pretty much the same age. Silfverberg turns 28 in October, and Henrique just turned 28 in...
No, Silfverberg's not 28.
So he's 27 now.
I honestly thought he was younger than Henrique. But
I thought it was like 24.
No, he was born October 13th, 1990, my friend.
Did you get that from Wikipedia?
Cat friendly.
Wow, I can remember him being so young when we got him.
He might be the guy that's being shopped. And then maybe you're going to bring a kid up to take a spot or whatever they're going to do in that situation will be interesting. But before we move on, though, because I want to talk about Erik Karlsson a little bit because some quote-unquote reporter online or information guy or what do you call him, insider decided to spark a conversation that got people talking, which I immediately thought that was laughable. But Brandon Montour, the NHL, not the Ducks, made a mistake and took him off the roster, which sparked all kinds of craziness on Twitter about something's happening. I was like, yeah, maybe it looks like something's happening, and it turns out they initially we just goofed. Sorry, we took him off. How do you accidentally do that?
The worst timing too, when the arbitration information's coming out, they and trade rumors could be flying. They take him off the roster.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing to say. That's a weird mistake to make.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't understand how that happens.
I didn't need to delete him. That's my bad.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. This guy, delete.
All players. Yeah, it's so weird. But I don't know if you guys know who Jimmy Murphy is, but I've interacted with him a few times on Twitter.
Oh, you have? You actually talked to him?
It's not like it's anything. Yeah, he's wrote back to me.
He got back to you?
Yeah, he comes back and talks crap all the time. But he likes to consider himself a reporter, and if you guys want to know who our other special guest was, that's Eddie's daughter in the background.
Hi.
Everyone's got family around today.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Murphy and his ramblings are just always interesting. He had a thing 2 seasons ago about Hampus Lindholm being shopped by Bob Murray, and Travis Yost from TSN was like, that's horseshit. There's no way that's even happening. I have information that says otherwise, and it's not going on. And then Jimmy Murphy they went back and forth on
doubles down on it.
Yeah, doubles down on it. And now he comes out and says the Ducks were a team in on Erik Karlsson, which everyone was like, are you insane? Like, the Ducks would never bring in Erik Karlsson. That doesn't make any sense in the Ducks' plans to get one younger, because I think he's like 28. And you take him on if you can.
Absolutely,
right? You take Erik Karlsson no matter what. But what are they're not going to move out all their young pieces.
The Ducks would have to jump through so many damn hoops to
and
make
then
that
convince
work.
Erik Karlsson to move to California,
Yeah.
which maybe he doesn't want to do.
That, and then he's you have to trade him, and it's a rental, and so you'd have to hope you'd have to re-sign him after that, and who knows if you even want to do that. I just the 80 billion things wrong with that. I can only think of 79.5 right now.
I think the only way you would have got him is if it was like a pure rental, because I think he's only making like 6 something right now. So if you move out Silfverberg back to Ottawa, maybe Montour, and complete some package around that, then yeah, you can make it work this offseason. But there's no way you can sign him to like a Doughty-like extension for 7 or 8 years. It's just not happening. They can't fit it in the cap. You'd have to find some way to move out Corey Perry's contract or Ryan Kessler's contract, and even then, that might not be enough to get that under the books. And is that something you even want to do at this point? I mean, the Ducks have a lot of young guys coming up. Why? I mean, it's a tough argument because, like, why would you not want to bring in the best defenseman in the hockey?
Everyone wants Erik Karlsson.
Yeah. But I just think, like, for the Ducks, it just doesn't make sense. And I love that Lisa Dillman came out and just shut Jimmy Murphy down again. I mean, every time he puts something out, it seems like somebody reputable comes out and just shuts him down.
Who shut him down this time?
Lisa Dillman.
She did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she's like, just so everyone knows, the Ducks are not in on Erik Karlsson.
The annoying part, the only way I kind of admire the guy a little bit is that if he's actually just trolling and he's doing an amazing job of it, because it just doesn't make any sense. Everyone obviously wants Karlsson, so everyone could be interested, but there's out of 30 possible teams you could go to, 26 of them can't pull it off. So why is this even a conversation that we have to have? The guy annoys me.
He wants to be Eklund.
I don't know about you.
Like, that's what he wants to be Eklund.
But Eklund's an idiot. No one knows.
Sorry.
So was Jimmy Murphy. I mean, he wants to be Eklund. He wants to put out the rumors and then have some people actually believe him, and then also have like people just hate him and tweet at him.
So I tweeted at him the other day about this whole thing about the Ducks being in on Erik Karlsson, and then I said, after the shit he got into with Travis Yost, I'm surprised he has any followers. He replied directly back and said, "Who said the Stars were on Erik Karlsson before the Athletic? Oh, good night." Like, he thought
he thought of it?
He got me. Yeah, he
got you. Yeah, he got you for sure.
And then he wrote back also after that. He goes, "Travis Yost has as much respect in the hockey world as a toilet seat," which I don't believe for a second that at all. But yeah, he's a content creator for the Boston Bruins. Like, he has his own show. And
another reason to hate Boston.
Yeah, another reason to hate Brad Marchand. Jimmy Murphy likes you, sir. It's the only other reason.
That's actually a really Boston name. Jimmy Murphy.
It's like Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy.
We need to hear the Boston accent again.
I'm done with that today. I'm retired.
Come on, just some good at it though.
So let's, before we get to the interview, get to our fan questions. Chase on Twitter says, "What do you think the Ducks would have to give up in a trade for Jeff Skinner or Wayne Simmonds?" We just kind of talked about it, but they would have to give up. Honestly, if you're the Hurricanes, you're probably looking to get back a defender at this point. Would you think? I think they would have to look for a defenseman, and everyone always wants one of the Ducks' young guys. So you're probably looking at Brandon Montour being shopped away, didn't
Carolina lose to Hahn? Right? He
came to Carolina. Yeah.
They got
from the Islanders.
I think Montour is even a little bit like too much for a guy who is a rental. I mean, he's a UFA. All of them are UFAs, especially Skinner and Wayne Simmonds.
It would have to be a thing where you get more if the Ducks were able to work out an extension prior to the trade.
Yeah, and I don't think you can give up. Like, you have to give up cap to bring any of these guys in with the fact they're so close. Like, I feel like Jakob Silfverberg probably has to be a part of any of these deals, and then maybe you just like, and it's like, Skinner and Simmonds, I think, are marginal upgrades. I mean, they are upgrades over Jakob Silfverberg, more consistent guys who are more likely to hit 25, 30 goals. So you would have to include Silfverberg and then, a pick or a prospect or something like that. I think that's the only way you make it work.
All right, I have a real quick question. Me and Pat say Jakob, and you say Jakob. Is there a right pronunciation?
Probably not the way I'm doing it.
I just want to
I'm going to go next. Probably right on that.
Oh, yeah. We're stupid when it comes to pronunciations. The same way. Skinner, it's like, you're not getting much, so what could we give up? It'd have to be less, and whatever we want to give up, I doubt they'd want to take. And